Imagine that you know that there's a 40% chance that Mr. Z here is a serial killer. If you were on a jury, would that be enough to send him to prison? Probably not. After all, you wouldn't want to risk being sent to prison yourself for crimes that you probably didn't commit. But would you go on a long road trip alone with Mr. Z based on this same information? Also, probably not. You probably wouldn't want to risk it. Would it be inconsistent to acquit Mr. Z of murder, yet refuse to go on a road trip with him because you think that he might be a murderer? After all, we know that there can only be one truth. Mr. Z is either a serial killer or he is not. If he is, then you shouldn't go on a road trip with him, and he should go to prison. If not, then he shouldn't go to prison, and there isn't any problem with going on a road trip with him. If you could be certain whether Mr. Z were a serial killer, that would be inconsistent. But you're not certain. As we've just seen, what it makes sense to do if you're not certain whether something is true or not can be very different to what to do if you are certain one way or another. In other words, where it's uncertain whether something is true, whether you should treat it as true depends on what decision that you're making. In our last video about uncertainty, we looked at arguments with conclusions that something is probably true rather than that something is definitely true. If you haven't seen that yet, go and check it out, then come back to this one. You may remember from that video that lots of people just say, and therefore X is true, when making an argument, even when they really mean, and therefore X is probably true. The really important things to think about are 1, how likely is it that the conclusion is true? And 2, how bad would it be if we were wrong and it were actually false? If the cost of being wrong is very low, but the benefit of being right is much higher, it makes sense to act as if the conclusion were true, even if the chance of it being true is fairly low. 30% chance of rain. Take an umbrella. Carrying an umbrella when it's not raining doesn't cost much, but getting wet can be annoying. 40% chance of Mr. Z being a serial killer. Don't go on a road trip with Mr. Z. There are lots of other people to go on a road trip with. But if the cost of being wrong is much higher, then it makes sense to demand a much higher degree of certainty before acting as if the claim were true. 60% chance of a miscarriage of justice if you send Mr. Z to prison. Don't send him to prison. He should have the benefit of the doubt. So when people make arguments about uncertain things, be careful. Think about what you should do about the conclusion. Always ask yourself, what degree of certainty does the evidence support? How bad would it be if the conclusion were wrong, but we acted as if it were right? And don't assume that an argument that gives you a sufficient reason to act as if X is true for one decision automatically gives you sufficient reason to act as if X is true for all decisions. Only if the probability of X being true is as high as the probability that the Earth orbits the Sun should you take all decisions as if X were true without further thought. If you liked this video, check out our other videos on critical thinking and liberal values. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this one.